John Zachary DeLorean was born on January 6, 1925, in Detroit, Michigan, the very heart of America's booming automobile industry. His roots were far from glamorous. He was the eldest of 4 sons born to Zachary DeLorean, a Romanian immigrant who worked as a millwright in the Ford Motor Company, and Catherine Prybak, a Hungarian immigrant who held various jobs, including at General Electric. Life for the young DeLorean was marked by a tough, working-class upbringing amid the clang of metal and the ever-present smell of oil. His household was far from stable. His father struggled with alcoholism and violent tendencies, and by 1942, his parents divorced, leaving John to navigate a fractured family and the harsh realities of economic hardship. Despite the struggles at home, DeLorean's intellect and determination shone early. He attended Detroit's public schools and earned a spot at Cass Technical High School, renowned for its demanding curriculum geared toward Detroit's bright young minds. There, he gravitated toward electrical engineering with an eagerness that set him apart. This intellectual hunger earned him a coveted scholarship to the Lawrence Institute of Technology, a school known for producing some of the best auto engineers in the country. However, just as his studies began, World War II called him away. Drafted in 1943, DeLorean served 3 years in the Army, an experience that further shaped his disciplined and relentless character. Returning home in 1946, DeLorean confronted his family's financial struggles head-on. With his mother and siblings depending on him, he took a job as a draftsman for the Public Lighting Commission, working tirelessly for nearly 2 years to help stabilize their situation. Yet, his sights were set higher, and he returned to Lawrence to complete his degree, graduating in 1948 with a Bachelor in Industrial Engineering. But what truly set DeLorean apart wasn't just his formal education. It was his uncanny business acumen. Forgoing a typical engineering job initially, he launched into life insurance sales, applying an analytical system he devised himself. A move that astonishingly earned him the equivalent of over $10 million in just 10 months. If you thought DeLorean was just a regular engineer, think again. With financial backing and confidence, DeLorean pursued deeper technical mastery. He returned to automotive education at the Chrysler Institute of Engineering, where he graduated with a master's in automotive engineering in 1952. His career took flight with Chrysler's engineering division, where he impressively balanced night classes, finishing an MBA by 1957. His technical talent and charisma opened doors, landing him an engineering role at Packard, where his improvements on the automatic transmission wowed his superiors. However, the looming demise of Packard forced him to seek greener pastures. General Motors soon came calling with a rare opportunity. He could join any division he chose. DeLorean picked Pontiac, arriving in 1956 as assistant to the chief engineer. His brilliance was immediate and prolific. He secured dozens of patents, rapidly transforming Pontiac into a powerhouse brand. At just 40 years old, in 1965, he became the youngest divisional general manager in GM's history. Here was a man who rose not because of privilege, but through sheer talent, grit, and a relentless drive to reshape American muscle cars and the automobile industry itself. John DeLorean's ascent from a troubled, working-class Detroit neighborhood to the pinnacle of automotive engineering tells a tale of ambition, resilience, and boundless vision. A story that was only just beginning. By the early 1960s, Pontiac was a brand fighting to redefine itself. Once seen as the choice for conservative, aging drivers, Pontiac was desperate for reinvention in the fast-paced automobile world. Into this ripe stage walks John DeLorean, a young, bold engineer with a vision that would ignite a new era in American car culture. His brilliance was not just in engineering but in understanding the pulse of a youthful generation craving power and style, a demographic that Detroit automakers had largely ignored. Under the leadership of General Manager Seaman Bunky Knudsen, Pontiac sought a fresh image and greater relevance. DeLorean quickly rose through the ranks, pushing boundaries with engineering breakthroughs and innovative designs. His team, including Bill Collins and Russ G., often gathered on weekends at the Milford Proving Grounds in Michigan for brainstorming sessions famously dubbed "What If" meetings. It was during one of these Saturday gatherings that the idea for what would become the Pontiac GTO was born. DeLorean and his team experimented with swapping engines, discovering that the larger 389 cubic inch V8 could fit relatively effortlessly into the midsize Pontiac Lemon's body, despite GM's strict internal policies restricting oversized engines in smaller cars. Despite General Motors' official regulations prohibiting big engines in small cars under typical models, DeLorean and his cohorts discovered a clever loophole. The rule applied only to base engines, not optional packages. This allowed the 389 V8 engine to be offered as an option in the Lemons, creating a perfect storm for the muscle car craze. DeLorean's vision went beyond pure engineering. He recognized the power of marketing and cultural influence. Partnering with Pontiac's advertising agency, DeLorean enlisted the help of Jim Wongers to create a marketing blitz that would target young, passionate drivers. The name GTO itself was borrowed from Ferrari's famed 250 GTO, signaling the high-performance aspirations behind the car. September of 1963 marked the official unwrapping of the Pontiac GTO, an event that changed the American automotive landscape forever. The GTO was a smashing success that captured the imagination of a generation hungry for speed and style. The car wasn't just a vehicle. It was a symbol of rebellion, freedom, and raw power. DeLorean took enormous pride in the fact that this creation was not solely about horsepower but about creating a driving experience that stirred emotion and loyalty. Over the next several years, the GTO set off a muscle car war, pushing Detroit's biggest manufacturers into fierce competition, each trying to outmuscle and outstyle the other. The success of the GTO elevated John DeLorean's career to new heights. By 1965, at just 40 years old, he was promoted to Pontiac's youngest division general manager in history, a testament to his talent and his relentless drive. Under his leadership, Pontiac did not just rise. It soared, introducing other iconic models like the Firebird and Grand Prix. But the GTO remained the crown jewel of American muscle cars. DeLorean's story here is one of brilliant innovation wrapped in a package of youthful daring, entrepreneurial spirit, and a dash of calculated defiance against corporate inertia. This chapter of his career is crucial, as it sets the stage for the clash between visionary engineering and the political and economic forces that would soon challenge him. The birth of the GTO wasn't just the birth of a car. It was the spark that ignited the muscle car revolution, forever etching John DeLorean's name in automotive history. John DeLorean's meteoric rise within General Motors was anything but smooth after he reached the upper echelons of the company. By the early 1970s, DeLorean had transformed Pontiac into a powerhouse and had taken over the helm at Chevrolet, one of GM's crown jewels, but internal conflicts began to fester. Although brilliant and driven, DeLorean's nonconformity and bold ideas clashed severely with the stodgy, risk-averse culture of GM's executive leadership. The corporate environment was suffocating. A dense web of committees and cautious executives obsessed with cost-cutting, hierarchy, and political posturing. DeLorean often lamented this atmosphere, critiquing the company for having too many bean counters and not enough engineers. A statement that revealed his frustration with GM's increasing focus on profits over innovation. DeLorean's clash with GM executives was not just a personality conflict. It stemmed from fundamentally opposing visions. Whereas DeLorean emphasized style, speed, and consumer excitement, embodied most famously in the Pontiac GTO, many executives prioritized financial stability and incremental product planning. One of the most notable flashpoints came when DeLorean found himself at odds over marketing campaigns like the aggressive Tiger campaign, which some in GM's upper management deemed too bold or risky. DeLorean also challenged GM's sales tactics, famously criticizing the heavy reliance on rebates to move bland cars that failed to ignite passion among buyers. His vision was simple yet radical. Cars should inspire emotion, not just traffic on showroom floors. This growing ideological divide reached a peak during DeLorean's tenure leading the Chevrolet division, starting in 1970. Tasked with reviving Chevrolet's faltering fortunes, DeLorean implemented drastic cost-cutting measures that included layoffs of over 800 workers and the removal of additional quality inspectors on the assembly lines. These austerity moves backfired spectacularly, causing assembly line vandalism where disgruntled workers intentionally slowed production or assembled cars improperly. The resulting flood of incomplete and malfunctioning vehicles severely damaged Chevrolet's reputation and added to the mounting tensions in the executive suite. The once unstoppable giant was now stumbling, and DeLorean found himself increasingly isolated against critics who blamed him for these failures. By April 1973, despite being on a clear path to become GM's president, DeLorean shocked the industry by announcing his resignation. He publicly cited his desire to pursue social causes and a vision beyond the constraints of the corporate world, signaling a dramatic departure from his corporate trajectory. Behind the scenes, however, the truth was more complex. GM executives were deeply uncomfortable with DeLorean's brash style, his vocal criticisms of corporate culture, and his unwillingness to play the political game that kept the massive corporation running. His departure marked the end of a turbulent but transformative chapter for GM and set the stage for his next, more personal and ambitious venture, the creation of the DeLorean Motor Company. The battles he fought at GM would haunt him forever, but they also forged the resolute, visionary man who dared to dream beyond the assembly line. After leaving General Motors in 1973, John DeLorean harbored a vision that extended beyond the corporate constraints he had fiercely battled. In October of 1975, he took a bold leap by founding the DeLorean Motor Company, DMC, in Detroit, Michigan. This was not merely a business move but an audacious statement. DeLorean aimed to create a unique American sports car that combined cutting-edge design with engineering innovation. His reputation as a pioneering engineer and dynamic leader attracted attention, and yet he knew that starting an independent car company from scratch would mean navigating unprecedented challenges. Capital raising was the first mountain to climb. DeLorean secured substantial funding from a blend of sources, including loans from Bank of America and investments from Hollywood luminaries like Johnny Carson, Sammy Davis Jr., and Roy Clark. This eclectic mix reflected the charismatic allure DeLorean commanded. However, financing a new car company required far more than star power. DMC launched a dealer investment program by which prospective dealerships could invest and become shareholders, a novel tactic designed to bolster both capital and dealer loyalty. The company's ambitious initial financial goal aimed for a staggering $70 to $90 million. Money needed to develop and build not just the car but an entire manufacturing infrastructure. In early 1978, construction began on a sprawling six-building manufacturing facility near Belfast, Northern Ireland, a choice influenced by economic incentives and a desire to revitalize a region troubled by political tension. The plant, officially known as DeLorean Motor Cars Limited, DMCL, was designed to be state-of-the-art, featuring expansive assembly lines and a dedicated test track. The decision to locate production overseas introduced logistical challenges but also positioned DMC for global ambitions. The intertwining of business with socio-political context underscored how DeLorean's dream was as much about innovation as it was about hope for economic renewal in a troubled area. Backed by an inspired team of engineers and visionaries, including former GM collaborators, DMC set its sights on creating a car unlike any other. While the company's beginnings were promising, the road ahead was anything but smooth. The undertaking of establishing everything from design and manufacturing to marketing was a gargantuan task, requiring relentless determination and innovation. DeLorean's leadership injected energy and ambition into the project, reflecting his refusal to settle for anything less than revolutionary. This foundation, though tenuous and fraught with risk, set the stage for the iconic project that would define his legacy, the DeLorean DMC-12. The DeLorean DMC-12 was not just a sports car. It was an audacious statement of innovation, style, and engineering daring. Designed by the legendary Italian designer Giorgetto Giugiaro, the car aimed to break the mold of conventional automotive design with a combination of futuristic aesthetics and practical engineering. Its most immediately recognizable features were undoubtedly the brushed stainless steel body panels, which gave the car an unpainted, raw metallic finish that stood apart from anything else on the market. This radical choice was not only about looks but about resisting corrosion, making the car feel both timeless and tough. Perhaps the most iconic design element of the DMC-12 was its gull-wing doors. Hinged at the roof, they swung upward rather than outward, giving the car a dramatic silhouette and an unmistakable presence. These doors were no mere stylistic whim. They served a functional purpose, overcoming the problem of limited space in tight parking spots. However, incorporating gull-wing doors introduced significant engineering challenges, including the need for complex and robust support structures and gas-inflated struts to assist with opening. Despite these challenges, the doors became symbolic of the car's futuristic, almost sci-fi character, catching the imagination of automotive enthusiasts worldwide. Underneath the striking exterior, the DMC-12 housed a rear-mounted 2.85-liter V6 engine supplied by Peugeot Volvo, producing approximately 130 horsepower. While technically competent and reliable, this engine's performance was a source of disappointment to many, as it struggled to propel the relatively heavy car with the speed and vigor expected from such a design. The car featured a 5-speed manual transmission as standard, with a 3-speed automatic optional. It also boasted a stainless steel chassis backbone and fiberglass underbody panels, blending traditional and innovative construction techniques to balance weight and strength. The car measured approximately 4,267 millimeters in length, 1,989 millimeters in width, and stood at a low height of around 1,170 millimeters, giving it a sleek aerodynamic profile. It weighed about 1,244 kilograms, which was relatively heavy for its class but contributed to a solid, planted feel on the road. The suspension system used coil springs, providing a balance of comfort and control, while power-assisted disc brakes on all 4 wheels ensured braking power was adequate. Despite its shortcomings in raw speed, the DMC-12 was lauded for its handling and confident road manners, characteristics that reflected the meticulous attention to detail paid by the engineers. In essence, the DMC-12 was a car that spoke loudly through its design, a blend of avant-garde aesthetics, minimalist luxury, and engineering compromises shaped by the realities of an independent automaker. While critics often panned its performance, few could deny the DMC-12's achievement as a bold, innovative sports car with an unmistakable identity. Its design legacy would later be immortalized through popular culture, transcending its commercial fate to become a true icon of automotive history. Choosing Northern Ireland as the site for the DeLorean Motor Company's manufacturing plant was a strategic decision wrapped in both hope and complexity. The region was in the midst of political turmoil, with the Troubles casting a shadow over the local economy. Unemployment rates were staggeringly high, and the British government eagerly offered substantial financial incentives to major companies willing to invest and create jobs there. DeLorean saw this as an opportunity not only to build his revolutionary car, but also to contribute to a region desperately in need of economic revival. The $120 million plant became a beacon of hope, promising to bring thousands of jobs and a sense of pride to a beleaguered community. Construction began in 1978 near Belfast, and the factory was state-of-the-art, boasting a complex of 6 buildings designed for a seamless production flow. There was tremendous optimism surrounding the project. Locals viewed DMC as a lifeline, while DeLorean positioned the car as the product of cutting-edge technology emerging from an unlikely place. The facility was lauded for its modern assembly lines and advanced machinery, striving to set a new standard in car manufacturing outside of Detroit and Europe. Yet, integrating a high-tech automotive plant into a politically volatile region proved to be a monumental challenge. Strikes, security concerns, and the complex web of political uncertainty hampered operations early on. The human story behind the factory was as compelling as the technological ambition. Many workers recruited were from families affected by the unrest, and for some, the plant was their first stable employment in years. This socio-economic backdrop added layers of pressure on the production team. Success meant more than just profit margins. It symbolized hope amid hardship. However, Building a complex sports car such as the DMC-12 required precision and consistency that clashed with the relative inexperience of much of the workforce. Quality control issues began to surface, and attempts to ramp up production frequently stumbled over labor disputes and coordination problems, which proved costly. Despite these setbacks, DMC's Belfast factory was a monument to vision and ambition. DeLorean's dream was to prove that innovation and economic regeneration could coincide, even in the most unlikely places. While the venture ultimately failed financially, the factory itself remains a poignant reminder of what was possible, a symbol of ambition born out of adversity. The intertwining of technological aspiration with socio-political hope gave the DeLorean Motor Company's story a dramatic chapter where business goals met human resilience, setting the stage for the struggles that lay ahead. The story of the DeLorean Motor Company's commercial failure is as dramatic as the rise of the man who founded it. Despite the buzz and excitement surrounding the DMC-12's launch in 1981, the car struggled to find a market. The economic recession in the United States at the time severely limited consumer spending, and many prospective buyers were hesitant to shell out for a car that was as much a novelty as a sports vehicle. On top of the challenging economic climate, the DMC-12 faced stiff competition from more established sports car brands that offered better performance and lower prices, such as the Chevrolet Corvette and Porsche 911. One of the greatest blows to DMC's commercial prospects was the build quality issues that arose from inexperienced labor and the pressures of ramping up production too quickly. Early models were plagued by mechanical problems, fit and finish inconsistencies, and a number of defects that eroded consumer confidence. Meanwhile, the car's underpowered engine failed to meet the expectations set by its striking appearance. Although the DMC-12 was praised for its stainless steel body and distinctive gull-wing doors, these features weren't enough to compensate for its lackluster performance and the company's lukewarm dealer network support. Financially, the company was hemorrhaging cash. DeLorean's decision to double production in the face of dwindling demand only worsened the problem. By the end of 1981, DMC had produced around 7,500 cars, but sold less than half of them, leading to a warehouse packed with unsold vehicles. The mounting unsold inventory created a significant financial strain as the company was forced to pay for storage and financing costs with little incoming revenue. Efforts to revive sales through discounts, incentivizing dealerships to buy stock, and extends warranties were insufficient and failed to reverse the downward spiral. In February 1982, facing insurmountable debt and no clear path to profitability, the DeLorean Motor Company was placed into receivership. The British government, which had invested heavily in the Northern Ireland factory as part of regional economic stimulus, took control of the facilities. Production continued at a reduced rate for a short time, but the attempts to salvage the company ultimately failed. By October of that year, the company filed for bankruptcy, marking the end of what was once a bold automotive dream. The fallout was vast. Over 2,500 jobs were lost, and investors faced staggering financial losses. DeLorean's dream had turned into an industrial and financial tragedy. In the early 1980s, as the DeLorean Motor Company teetered on the brink of collapse, John DeLorean faced a crisis that would overshadow his entire career. In a desperate bid to save his failing company, DeLorean became ensnared in an FBI sting operation that accused him of conspiracy to smuggle cocaine into the United States. The scandal erupted in 1982, capturing worldwide attention and transforming the once celebrated auto executive into a symbol of downfall and controversy. The details of the operation revealed DeLorean meeting with undercover agents who posed as drug traffickers, agreeing to a deal to help fund his company through illicit means. The FBI's operation was designed to catch individuals desperate enough to compromise their morals for financial gain. However, John DeLorean's defense argued that he was entrapped, coerced into a situation engineered by the FBI, targeting him as a high-profile figure. After a highly publicized trial, he was acquitted of all charges, with the judge ruling that entrapment was evident. Despite the verdict, the damage to DeLorean's reputation was irreversible. This scandal was a cruel twist of fate, especially considering DeLorean's background as a successful automotive visionary. The timing could not have been worse, as the company was already struggling financially, and the negative publicity hastened its demise. Investors and financial backers swiftly withdrew, and potential buyers of the DMC-12 turned cautious. The scandal became an indelible stain on DeLorean's legacy, converting a narrative of innovation and ambition into one of desperation and controversy. Even after his acquittal, John DeLorean found it difficult to rebuild his career or public image. The fallout from the scandal rippled through the automotive industry and beyond, highlighting the dangers of desperation in high-stakes business. It also sparked debates about law enforcement tactics and the ethics of sting operations. For the DeLorean Motor Company, the cocaine scandal marked the final blow, cementing its status as a cautionary tale of ambition, risk, and the human cost of failure. Despite its commercial failure and the collapse of the DeLorean Motor Company, the DMC-12 achieved an immortality few cars ever experience, thanks largely to its starring role in the blockbuster Back to the Future film trilogy. Released in 1985, the film transformed the DeLorean from a struggling, obscure sports car into a symbol of futuristic possibility and cultural cool. Director Robert Zemeckis and writer Bob Gale chose the DeLorean for its sleek, otherworldly design, which perfectly suited the movie's time-traveling theme. The car's gull-wing doors and stainless steel body made it unlike anything audiences had seen before, giving filmmakers a ready-made, visually striking icon. In the films, the DMC-12 was reimagined as a time machine, powered by plutonium and later a lightning strike, enabling the protagonist, Marty McFly, to travel through decades and forge the destiny of his family in town. This cinematic representation captured imaginations worldwide, far overshadowing the car's disappointing real-world performance. The cinematic DeLorean became a character in its own right, a vehicle of dreams, adventure, and possibility. The association catapulted the car into legendary status, and even decades after production ceased, it commands unprecedented attention at car shows, pop culture conventions, and auctions. The movie's impact extended beyond entertainment. Enthusiasts and collectors began to rescue and restore DMC-12s, fueling a niche but passionate community. The car's value surged, and its image was immortalized in countless merchandise, from toys and model kits to video games and apparel. For many, the DeLorean symbolizes the blend of innovation, style, and a hint of rebellion, a car that dared to be different despite overwhelming odds. This revival was bittersweet. It commemorated what could have been rather than what was, highlighting the contrast between the company's ambition and its eventual fate. Thus, the DeLorean DMC-12's journey from industrial failure to cinematic legend underscores a unique blend of automotive history and pop culture. Though John DeLorean's dream of revolutionizing the auto industry ended in bankruptcy and scandal, his creation transcended its origins. The DeLorean remains an iconic reminder that sometimes, failure on paper can still lead to unforgettable success in the hearts and minds of millions around the world. John DeLorean's life and legacy are as complex as the shimmering stainless steel car that immortalized his name. Though he faced scandal, financial ruin, and professional exile, his impact on the automotive industry and popular culture is undeniable. DeLorean was a visionary who dared to break the mold, creating not just innovative vehicles but a narrative about ambition, resilience, and the human cost of bold dreams. His invention of the Pontiac GTO reshaped American muscle cars, setting standards for power and style. Later, through the DeLorean Motor Company, he attempted to revolutionize sports car design, pushing boundaries with avant-garde aesthetics and engineering. The DeLorean DMC-12, despite being a commercial failure, became a cultural icon largely due to its starring role in the Back to the Future film series. This cinematic legacy transcended the car's mechanical limitations and company's collapse, inspiring devotion among enthusiasts worldwide. The car remains a symbol of futuristic design and the dreamer's spirit, celebrating creativity amid adversity. DeLorean's story resonates as a cautionary tale about the challenges of entrepreneurship, the risks of innovation, and the harsh scrutiny public figures endure when ambition crashes against reality. In the decades following the collapse of his company, efforts to preserve and revive the DeLorean legacy have emerged. Enthusiasts, collectors, and a revived DeLorean Motor Company have kept the car's mystique alive through restoration, parts manufacturing, and limited production runs using original designs. These efforts underline the car's lasting appeal and its unique place in automotive history. John DeLorean himself passed away in 2005 at the age of 80 due to health complications. But his persona, as a brilliant engineer, controversial CEO, and cultural icon, continues to spark fascination and debate. Ultimately, John DeLorean's legacy is a multifaceted one. He represents the archetype of the automotive maverick whose dreams outpaced the era's industrial and economic realities. His life story combines triumph, innovation, scandal, and redemption, making him a figure both admired and admonished. Despite the failure of his company, his influence endures in the muscle cars he helped popularize, the bold designs he championed, and the pop culture phenomenon that turned his creation into a lasting symbol of ingenuity and daring. His story invites reflection on what it truly means to innovate, to fail, and to leave an indelible mark on history.